Yes, people. It's been a while. Over a month now. Over a month? Yeah, over a month.
Well, your last video was a month ago, yeah.
Yeah.
When I was having the baby.
Trust me. After the we just have to get in the swing of things. We decide say we have to just take a break from making video and stuff. For get stuff together. But there. And Graeson is here.
Baby Gray.
Don't call him until.
He's Gray. We call him Gray.
Alright, Graeson. Say hi to the fans. So I know my look on the camera over this now, sir.
Turn around. Hold on.
Watch him. He not love sleep.
He's sleepy, guys.
I'm kinda sleepy right now.
Yay.
Just in not too long wake up.
Yay.
And we feed him a while ago. And now him probably soon go sleep. But it has been a really fun, tiring experience, which we all go over in our next video, but not now. And we'll show you our morning routine, stuff like that.
We spent the month just not sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
He's up a lot at nights. I mean, it's just normal, like what you expect for a baby.
Yeah, and him you have a little griping on anything there. So, watch him. Normally, I have to stay up for the camera, my youth. Stay up for the camera, boy.
It's funny, he cries a lot now. When I was in the hospital, like when he was just born, we spent 2 days in the hospital, and he didn't cry. Even when he was born, he didn't cry until the night of the second day. That was the first time I heard him cry. And now he cries a lot.
Alright, so Nika, I'll give our take on the pregnancy journey.
Yes, pregnancy for me.
So I'm not going to talk that much. However, because I gave my take on it before, my perspective. So now it's her. She will get the chance to, give a synopsis.
Yes, so let's start from the beginning. We started trying so Graeson was planned. So we started trying in April. Got pregnant in May. The first part of the pregnancy was fine. I would forget that I was pregnant until about week, I think 8. Like when the nausea hit me and vomiting. It was the worst thing I've ever felt in my entire life. It was so bad I couldn't stand at some points. I spent the whole day in bed, and I even threw up water. I would drink water and throw it back up. It was that bad. That whole part of the pregnancy made me I don't want no more kids. It was that bad. But yeah, I'm not gonna really go over my symptoms because I think Adam kind of talked about that. I'm just gonna talk about how it changed, how my body changed physically. So definitely gained a lot of weight in my face. I still have a little bit. I lost a lot of weight after having the baby. A lot of it was water, fluids, because when I was in the hospital too, I was on IV for 24 hours. When I came out, I looked fatter than when I went in. So I lost a lot of weight within the 2 weeks of having the baby. So yeah, I gained a lot of weight in my face, especially. My skin changed so much. I had a lot of bumps which started coming up on the side of my face and my neck and my shoulder area here, and it would my skin itched. So that was more in the 3rd trimester, but my skin was so itchy, I was itching like crazy. And then my neck got darker, I got a shade darker in general, but then that's not the bad part. The bad part is that it was just so uneven. So my neck, if you probably can see it in like some videos when I was pregnant, my neck was really dark, and then like the side of my face was really dark, and that straight like it, my skin after coming out of the hospital, my skin would like, it felt like it was burning, and then it looked charred, and then it stripped off, so then like it came back to normal. I had a lot of swelling. I think that was probably those are one of the main changes in terms of my body. It was my skin, and then my lips being extremely dry. I think that was it for that. Like Adam did go over all of the symptoms. So I think any kind of weird thing was I was craving a lot of beer. So Adam ended up buying me like either like the less than 0.5% or de-alcoholized beer. I mean, they say technically it still has a little bit of alcohol, but I was drinking a lot of beer. I craved the burgers, like red meat. Like he mentioned, I was anemic, so I craved a lot of red meat because red meat is high in iron. So yeah, I was craving a lot of burgers and poutine, basically junk food and Coke. Like Coca-Cola was life. Like I could live on it. That's all I wanted to drink. I was also drinking tons of water. I was drinking a lot in general. So I'm gonna talk about my labor. So the Monday of the previous week, before I had the baby, I went to the doctor, like did my regular 1 week checkup, and she checked my cervix and did a membrane sweep. So I was 1 centimeter dilated like the week before, and she did a membrane sweep. So if you don't know what that is, she basically put her finger inside my cervix and kind of did this in between the membrane, like what the baby was in, and my cervix. It's supposed to help set on labor. It doesn't like send you in labor right away, but it's like, I think they said 90% of people who do it, you go in labor by the time of your due date. Like you don't pass 40 weeks. So that whole week after doing that, because before that week, I was crampy. Like it felt like things were progressing to labor, but then after that, it just kind of stopped, and I was like, I felt nothing, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this kid isn't gonna come out when he's supposed to come out. I thought it was gonna stay long, and then after doing that, I was crampy that whole week, like mild, like how you'd feel period cramps that whole week. And then the Friday I thought he was like, this is it. It was like he's gonna come probably tomorrow, because I was driving around with Adam while he was doing like his skip delivery in the car, and it was like after midnight, and I was sitting in the front, like I was having a lot of Braxton Hicks contractions. So that's like tightening of the uterus. I was just kind of crampy. It was all bearable, nothing like extreme. But then sometime after midnight, when he threw up.
Hey boy.
Sometime after midnight, I got this really like sharp, it felt like a contraction. Like that contraction was awful. I remember grabbing Adam's like scarf and choking him. It was bad until I was like, okay, let's stop your shift and go home, because like this is it, it's starting. Labor was I thought labor was starting. I really wanted to pee, like my bladder was full. So when I came home, we rushed, took a shower, because we were like, you know what, let's just get set just in case I have to go into the hospital. I took a shower, and we were like, okay, let's just get to bed. I didn't feel anything. That was it. It was long. It lasted pretty long too. Like I couldn't, even after we came home and parked, I had to sit in the car for a while so the pain could kind of go away, so I could get out of the car. Then it didn't come back. I thought maybe another contraction was gonna come. Nothing. That was it. And that was, well, technically Saturday morning, because it was after midnight. And then I didn't feel anything again until I think I just kind of went back to having like mild cramps on Sunday. And then Monday was family day here in Canada, which is a holiday. And then my sisters and their husbands and kids came over. And I started having contractions that morning. I think around like 9 or 10. But again, it was mild. It wasn't anything too extreme. I started timing it then, and then during the day, like evening, maybe probably after 5 or so, it got around, they were like 5 minutes apart and lasting for a minute. Again, at this point, it was painful, but I was still up kind of around family and talking and stuff. But then I went to the hospital around that time, and they checked my cervix, and they're like, "You're 1 centimeter," and I'm like, "Oh my god, I was 1 centimeter last week, so nothing changed." I mean, they said my cervix was thinning, but like in terms of the opening was still 1 centimeter, and they don't admit you until you're 3 centimeters, and you don't start pushing until they're 10. So I had a while to go. But then the doctor at the time was like, they send you home. So again, they don't admit you until you're 3 centimeters. So they sent me home.
Alright, people, so it turned out we have to go back home. She's only 1 to 2 centimeters dilated. So, I mean, maybe tonight, maybe early in the morning, but for now it's gonna be home and for her to rest. The contractions, as I say contractions, the contractions are yeah, like that's one more contraction. Alright, baby, take your time.
Okay. Before that, they gave me a shot to help with the pain because I wasn't sleeping. So, as I had mentioned before, like the Friday when I had that first that contraction that I felt, my bladder was full. So then that over those couple days, I realized that I was having those mild contractions or just like cramping. And what I realized was that when my bladder was full, it was more painful. So those few days, I didn't really sleep because I was getting up literally every 5 minutes to pee because the mild cramps would feel intense if my bladder was full. So I didn't really sleep. So I was exhausted. And they gave me that shot, which is supposed to help. It doesn't take the pain away, but it takes the edge off the pain and it makes you sleepy. So they sent me home. The doctor was like, he'll probably be back later tonight or in the morning. Like by then things probably would progress far enough that I'm back and be admitted. But so they gave me the shot, and I don't know what's in the shot. It's one of the things they use to help with the pain for labor, along with the gas and the epidural. So I took the shot, and it made me like high. Literally, I was high. I felt nice. I felt good. When I came home, I felt like I was on like clouds. I could finally sleep. So I came home, I took a shower, and I was like, I'm gonna use this time to sleep. It's supposed to last for 3 to 4 hours. So I came home and I slept. Again, I was starting to time. When I woke up again, I continued timing contractions. I don't think I slept long. Again, after getting that shot, everything's a bit blurry. Like I can't really remember much. Like a lot of when things happened. But I don't honestly, after taking a shower, I can't really remember what happened. I think I slept. I did sleep, I think, for a bit. But I really don't know what happened in between that time. I just remember waking up, getting up again. I know I didn't sleep the whole day. So I probably got up at some point, but then I started timing them again. In the late night, around 4:30, because this time before, like going to the doctor, they said to go to the hospital when it was 5 minutes apart and lasting for a minute. But then when they sent me home, they're like, come back when it's about 2 to 3 minutes apart and lasting for a minute. So early morning, like around 4:30, I was timing it, and it was about 2 minutes apart and lasting for a minute. But it was weird. Like some of them, it would be consistent for a while, and then I might have one that came 5 minutes after, and then I wouldn't get that break in between some of them. So I would have a contraction on top of a contraction. So it's a bit like weird in terms of timing it, but we went in at I think 4:30 a.m. I was like, because the pain was getting more intense, still bearable. It wasn't like extreme. It wasn't at the peak yet. It was still painful, but yeah, we went in at 4:30, and yeah, I went up to labor and delivery again, and the doctor came and checked, and she's like, "You're still 1 centimeter." And I'm like, "It's been hours and nothing changed." I was like, "You gotta be kidding me." And then I was like, I didn't want to go home again, and then I had to come back. So they gave me another shot. That shot they gave me. So I was feeling nice again. I still wasn't sleeping, so I was exhausted. And this time the doctor was like, "I'm not gonna send you home." They were gonna check me like later in that morning. She said that the doctor that saw me originally wasn't gonna come back in until, wait, no, the nurse saw me. No, there was a doctor there. There was a doctor. But they were gonna come back and check me again at around 7 or 8. So they put me in a room and everything. They gave me the shot. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try to get some sleep. And then I woke, the pain got more intense because I remember waking up and I can't remember if the injection just wore off or the pain was so intense that the injection wasn't working, because they usually say for labor, like when you get the pain gets bad, the injection doesn't really work that well. So yeah, I remember waking up to some like intense pain, and the doctor came back to check me, I think around 8 a.m. and I was finally 3 centimeters. So they admitted me. Yay. Because if I didn't, they said they were gonna talk about or try to find talk about inducing me or something, which I didn't want. So luckily it finally progressed. I was 3 centimeter dilated, and they finally admitted me. So I was in bed for a while. The pain was getting more intense, so the injection wasn't working, and I think it was wearing off. Anyways, the nurse came in and she was like, I think they were short because there were a lot of, I think, other women giving birth that day. And so the nurse, they were kind of stretched out. And the nurse came, the room that I was in, it had a bathroom attached to it, and it had this tub kind of thing. It wasn't like a normal tub, it was like a kind of jacuzzi kind of, and it could tilt. I think it's specific for just like, they have it specific to help with labor pain. So the nurse came and she's like, she's gonna set up a hot bath for me so I can go in there and kind of help with the pain. And I was like, okay, but she wasn't coming right away because again, she was waiting for another nurse to come because we were short. So I was lying down now. The pain was getting more and more intense. I think the time when the nurse came to check, again, like I said, after getting those shots, everything is a bit blurry. Like I can't remember a lot of stuff. I don't know what is in it, but that thing made me high. I don't remember like what happened when, but I think when the nurse checked me and I was 3 centimeters, the doctor checked me and I was 3 centimeters. They felt the baby and his head was, because usually when the baby is about to come out, his head is facing up, the back of his head is facing this way, but his head was facing this way, so the back of his head was pushing on my spine, so it was making the pain more intense, and it was making it hard to track the contraction, so it wasn't progressing like normally. So again, like I was mentioning, they would be, some of the contractions would be like 2 minutes apart, then some would be 5 minutes, and then the contractions, with each contraction usually you have like a break in between, then you have the next contraction. But for some of my contractions, they were like right on top of each other, and they were longer than normal contractions would be. So the contractions are pretty long. So that's what the doctor told me. So I was like, okay, that makes sense and why it was taking so long to progress at first. But yeah, after that I was just lying down basically waiting for it to be so I can fully dilate, and then I was waiting for the nurse to come back and set up that hot water bath for me. But then the pain got really, really intense, and I remember the nurse came to check on me and I was like, forget the bath, give me the epidural. Like, the pain was so intense. Like, but then the doctor, again, like I mentioned, there were other women giving birth. So the doctor that was going around, the anesthesiologist, I can't speak. The doctor that gives the epidural, he was going around giving it to other women, so I had to wait. So in the meantime, she was like, he'll probably won't be here for now, so let's just set up the bath anyways. So it's like, okay, I went in the bath, which felt good. It did help a lot with the pain. It's kind of like a jacuzzi, and I think the water kind of helps to take off some of the weight, so the contractions aren't as intense. It's still bad, but it just makes it more weird, and the heat helps. So I was in there for maybe about half an hour, was it? Hello?
Sorry, repeat. May I play a game?
Like, he was in the room with me, like in the bathroom. Was it about half an hour that I was in there for?
No?
The hot water bath.
Half an hour?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Again, like I said, everything is blurry after getting the injection. So I think it was about half an hour.
Or maybe an hour.
Yeah, maybe. Before. So I was in there for a while. The doctor was finally about to come to my room, so the nurse came and got me out. I got dressed and went back in bed. And the doctor came now to give me the epidural, because I was like, I wasn't gonna sit through this any longer. The pain was just, it's like, unless they go through labor, you don't know. Like, it was intense. But yeah, it was a little bit scary, because when the doctor came to, he's like, they have to tell you about all the the risks and stuff of getting the epidural.
Yeah, I catch my afraid at that time. I was getting afraid. I was getting scared at that time but I couldn't let her know that I was scared, because if she knew I was scared, then she would probably get scared. So I had to play it off as if I'm encouraging her.
I could see it on your face the first time. Like the risk he was saying, the first few stuff he mentioned was fine, I think. I can't really remember.
But yeah, before walk.
Memory. No. Did he say that? I just remember him saying, because it's in my spine, it could affect some nerve endings and all those things. But he didn't say specifically not be able to walk. Okay, but anyways, he listed stuff and I was like, okay. But then he went to that, like, you could damage some nerve endings, and I was like, and we're looking at Adam like, oh my gosh, but the pain was so bad. I was like, I don't care, just give it to me anyways. It was really uncomfortable getting it, because it took a while, like longer than I thought it would take. It wasn't just like one injection kind of thing. So I remember they have to give you in between contractions, because you have to be really still. So they raised my bed up, and I had to arch my back like this, like kind of make my back curve. And Adam came in front of me and was holding me, so I had to be still so that I didn't move.
Hey, I never want to see the injection going in, because I tell man, I did afraid. I was worried.
It wasn't painful, at least. I'm not usually afraid of needles, so, but it was definitely less painful than getting that shot before that made me high, because they put that directly in your muscle that went into my butt cheeks. Like, the first time I came in, they gave it in one. The other time I came in, they gave it in, and that was painful. That was actually painful, but this wasn't that painful. But I don't know what they were doing back there, but it took kind of a while, I would say. I thought it was just gonna be like one thing, and it more felt like it was more to my side, because they do put it in your spine. I don't know. Again, I don't know what's happening. It was more than one needle, I think, that I got. So it was uncomfortable, because I remember during that, another contraction was coming on, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, another contraction's coming. But I couldn't move, so I had to like force through that. But that, I got that. It worked really quickly. So after getting in, I had to turn on one side, the kind of, I guess, the injection or whatever they injected me to kind of run down, and then turn the other side so it can move down again. But after getting the contraction, the epidural, I couldn't feel anything from my waist down. Like everything down there was numb. My thighs, my legs, I could not feel a thing. And then after that, they gave me the IV because apparently I have to make sure that your blood volume doesn't drop. So I was on the IV. I couldn't feel anything, but I was happy because the pain was gone. I wasn't feeling anything. I could finally sleep. So I think I slept after that. And then the doctor came back at some point again. I don't know when this was, but she came back again at some point and checked my cervix. I don't think it was too long.
About an hour after them the first time them check you, it was about 3 hours from 8, 9, 10, 11. 3 hours.
Okay, so 3 hours after. Again, I don't remember if this was before or after the epidural. But the doctor did come back and check me 3 hours after, and I was 9 centimeters. So when she came originally, she was like, how was it like giving birth in your family? Because I thought when she was gonna be like, you're still 3 centimeters, or just went up by 1, like barely changed. I was like, oh my gosh, how long do I have to be here? But then she's like, you're 9 centimeters. So it progressed like that after. So I was like, I don't know. And she's like, you're 9 centimeters. So I was okay, good. So it was soon time for me to push. My water broke again at some point. I don't remember the timeline, but I remember the nurse saying, did your water break yet? And I was like, no. So she was like, okay, if it's not, if it didn't break yet, or it doesn't break.
After them need check after it was 9 centimeters, the water break like a few, like 30 minutes after.
Okay, so I guess the nurse came back in and checked, and she came to ask me about pushing, like it was gonna be some time to push, whatever. It's surprising because I didn't realize how much water it was. I know, when you watch movies and they make your water break and it's like a gush, and usually people always say like, they always exaggerate things in movies, but it was like a lot of liquid, a lot of water, which I didn't think it was gonna be that much. But again, I was numb. No, it was after the epidural. Yeah, because I remember being numb. It was after the epidural, so. But I felt a gush, like a huge gush of like water. I turned first and there was a little bit and I thought that was it, but then I fully turned and there was like a lot more and I wasn't feeling anything. So I really didn't know when a contraction was. I really had to like focus to tell when there was a contraction so I could know when to push. I had one of my leg up on that leg brace thing that they have. Adam was holding like one of them, this one. And I started pushing, and his head came down like right away when I was pushing, right? Like you could see they brought a mirror and put it in front of me so I could see what was going on. And I could see his head, like little hairs like pushing out, so his head came out pretty quickly. I didn't push for long. I pushed for like less than an hour. He could have came out faster though, but he was being stubborn, because I remember the doctor eventually came in and we were there like, okay, push this. Like his head was at one point, but it just wouldn't come fully out. And I remember the doctor just sitting at the end, like the edge of the bed, just kind of waiting, like, like just waiting for his head to come out, like, okay, anytime now. And then she's like, okay, if his head doesn't come out now, she's gonna have to make room for him to come out. So she was like suggesting cutting me, and I was and that push, the next push after that, I remember pushing like with everything I got, and his head finally came out. And it took long because he came up with his hand at his face. I didn't tear, thank God. And he came out. They pulled him out. He didn't cry, like I mentioned. And they just kind of wiped him off and put him on my chest.
Did a ball feed.
Yeah, he cried.